or anything related to the last topic? And also, can someone summarize what we did so far so that anyone is on track, like mean to say following everything or what we did so far? Anyone want to do the recap? Okay.
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
Raj.
so we started with Vagrant,
Mm-hmm.
basically
Mm-hmm.
installations of Vagrant and running
Mm-hmm.
multiple Vagrant servers. Then then we moved to basic of Linux and networking.
Mm-hmm.
So wherein we have done basic of Linux and networking, which is required for a DBA.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the next classes we move to uh, the uh, the data directories and the important files of Postgres
Mm-hmm.
servers. And after that,
Mm-hmm.
we have done in the recent classes the Docker, how do we
Mm-hmm.
do Docker installations and all that, and
Mm-hmm.
Docker Swarm, and a
Mm.
basic of Kubernetes. So this
Okay.
is how we have gone through till now.
Great. So now, and also we have talked about all the basic concept of platform as a service and all kind of service model, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, and we have talked about all kind of different aspect of the infrastructure. So in the same continuation, we are going to talk about the cloud part today because that is another infrastructure or platform there we are going to install or normally we install the databases. Okay, let me take a new sheet better. Okay, so let me recreate that same architecture last time I created, and in that same sequence we will continue. So DB platforms, right? I'm just giving a short name. So DB platforms, we have talked about the hardware. You can also call this hardware as a bare metal. Then we have VM. And then what we have? What is the next version of VM? We have talked about containers, right? Under the container, we have talked about Docker. Docker. One second, my pen is going in a different direction. We have talked about Docker Compose, right? And then what is the next version of Docker Compose? What is the next tool which is comes next to the Compose after Compose? Technology
Docker
wise,
Swarm.
Swarm. Very good. So what is the difference between Swarm and Compose or Docker? So
So
Docker and yeah, please, Raj, go ahead.
yeah, you please you explain
No,
it.
no, no,
No
no,
problem.
no, no, no. I want your understanding first. Yeah.
Yeah, Docker is that just we want a single server to be spawned
Mm-hmm,
application, then we can do it using Docker. Then
mm-hmm,
if we have multiple applications at the same time, we need to spawn it. So we
mm-hmm,
can use Docker Compose. And then when
mm-hmm,
we require a clustering, in the clustering concept, we use it
mm-hmm.
Docker Swarm.
Docker Swarm. And in case if I need more advanced application thing, what is the next thing that we have to understand?
Kubernetes.
Kuber,
Kubernetes.
Kubernetes. I'm just in the short form. Writing it. Cube 8. What are the other platforms that we have already talked about?
We have the managed services like AWS, GCP, Azure.
One second. One student called me. One second. Sorry for the confusion. A lot of people are joining to the old link and they are waiting. So no problem. So, so here we have Kubernetes, and what is the next option? Someone just said. What are the next option that we have where we can go and deploy our infrastructure and services?
The
Cloud.
managed services like cloud.
Okay, cloud. In the cloud, what will be our main preference? And what are the common cloud we have? There, see,
AWS,
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 Azure,
uh,
GCP,
Azure, GCP, and
OCI.
OCI. Uh, which one we should learn more, like based on the requirement and based on the popularity, or how we will check which cloud is getting picked by most of the enterprises, where we can check the stats.
Grant reports, I guess.
Very good.
Uh,
Little bit you have to correct. The report name is Gartner.
Gartner.
Whenever you want to check which is the leader in the market, you can just simply go to Gartner Cloud Magic Quadrant. So Magic Quadrant will show you who is the leader in the market. Or if you want to see any technology, Gartner DB database quadrant. So it will show you which database is doing good and who is the market leader and who is going to be the market leader. Okay, so these things are very important because these things gives you what is going on in the market. Another thing, if you want to understand what is going on in the market, you can also check DB ranking specific to database. You can check the popular DB ranking websites. Just a minute, let me share the link. 1 second. I think people are, but I have sent a clear message, right, to join this group. 1 second. Okay, sorry, huh? So DB ranking, and there is another site called G2. Okay, here you can go and you can think, you can just write anything like cloud, and what you will get? You will get the clear-cut understanding who's doing what, what kind of cloud products you have in the market, and the main important thing is the rating. Okay, customers are rating all these products. So this is the another way of getting the things. I'll tell you more other ways. Let's go to the main topic. Okay, so Azure, AWS, Azure, GCP, and OCI. Okay, and we have another category which we are not going to discuss, but uh, due to my own interest, I work on that, which is IoT. Anyone understand IoT? What is IoT? IoT? Anything?
Internet of things.
Correct. The small machines or the small things which is connected to the internet and we want to control them. Okay. So something IoT devices like your washing machine, fridge, your car dashboard, your mobile, and so many other things. Okay. So it's like that. So there also we can install the databases, the satellite which goes to the outside of the earth, which also have the small databases which we install on top of them. Okay, so like that. So now, okay, now from here onwards, how we can create database on AWS or on the cloud? The common concept that we have talked about, common concepts, how we can create the database on these platforms. What are the common concepts that we have to understand, and we should be very sure that at least we understand all these things sequentially. What are the things that we have talked so far? We have talked
We,
about. Mhm,
we can use self-hosting like using EC2 virtual
mhm,
machines
mhm,
or managed services wherein we have
mhm,
RDS, Aurora,
mhm.
so on. Yeah.
Very good. So we have managed services where AWS or service providers are giving you option. You are just going and just entering the details like database name, size, resources, and your database is ready. And there is another service which is like this is managed service and this is self-managed service. So self-managed service is nothing but VM. You are creating VM and you are just installing the software by your own. So this is the common concept. But from the implementation point of view, being a DBA or being an advanced modern DBA, what is other thing that we have to understand? Implementation. Very important things that everyone should understand from the implementation. And what kind of implementation we have? We have manual implementation and automatic implementation. So when I say manual implementation, what does it mean? It means I go to the AWS console uh, and I do all the things manually, or I go to uh, Azure portal and I do everything manually. Let's suppose I want to create a database. I will go and I will create it manually. Okay. So which is nothing but manual way of handling my database infrastructure. This is my Azure, dashboard. So let's suppose I want to create a SQL database. I will simply go and create the database like this. So this is what this is considered. It is considered as a manual steps. What are the automatic way? What are the automatic way that we have discussed so far that we have to understand or at least learn? Anyone?
Uh, like infrastructure, Terraform,
Mm-hmm.
Tofu, and
Terraform,
Vagrant, Ansible,
tofu, open tofu. Okay. And then
Vagrant.
vagrant is
Python
more like
Boto.
vagrant is more like uh, you can say it's related to the VM implementation. It's more like for implementing the VM for cloud, specific to the cloud, Terraform, OpenTofu. Someone just
Cloud
said one word.
formation,
Ansible.
cloud
Uh,
formation.
cloud formation, Ansible. Very good. There was another word someone just said.
Python Boto 3.
Very good. Python, Photo 3. So these are the scripting language, or these are the scripts, English like script, which we can execute and we can create our infrastructure on the cloud. Okay. So being a modern database administrator, at least we should know about these two technologies. Okay. Ansible, uh, Ansible also you can understand or you can write. Ansible is also important. And Python Boto basically for the ad hoc administration task or for report building and all those things. Okay. In the future classes, I will show you everything, all these things practically one by one. Okay. So this is the thing. Now, this is the automation part. To orchestrate the automation, what we do, what we have discussed. Let's suppose you remember that example, right? Every Friday, Saturday,
Jenkins,
Sunday. Very good. Jenkins. Any other popular tool that is
Git,
big
Git,
Git
Git
action?
Labs, I think.
Yeah,
Ah,
Git
yeah,
action.
Git Action.
Git action. And what are the other options that are getting popular in the market? Octo.
In cloud also, we have a lot of services like no? Code
Right.
commit and
In
all.
cloud also we have a lot of services and we can use those services. We have Octopus deploy also, which you can use. We can also use Bamboo.
So these also are open source, right?
These are some part of the things are open source, some part is still closed source, but majority of the things you can do with your open source software. Can you see here? All the big companies are using these kind of tools. Okay.
Yeah.
So if I want to make my own orchestration or CI/CD, I will say CI/CD and orchestration. What tools I can use or what language I can use? These are the, I would say, tools. What are the scripting languages that we can use? We can use shell script. We can use Python script, and also we can use Golang. Okay. Don't get worried that you have to go and code all these things. Nothing to do, nothing like that. I will give you a lot of other ways to prepare your scripts. There are a lot of AI and ML programs are available which will write your tool. So nothing to worry about it. And things are getting advancer and advancer every day. So I'll show you all the ways when we are talking about all these things. So this is the thing. What about DB automation? Technically, DB automation comes everywhere. So what about DB automation? What we have talked about on DB automation? What are the tools that we have talked about? We have talked about Flyway, right? We have talked about the Liquibase. Okay. So far we have talked about all these things. Flyway and Liquibase, any use case we have discussed, right, last time? What is Flyway? What is Liquibase? Where we use it? Anyone? I'm just
Yeah, you
doing
given
small.
an example of Amazon sale. So in one
Correct.
go, we can update multiple databases.
Multiple databases, which I can create an entire pipeline. Okay. Uh, So Flyway, if time permits, when we will do automation, I will show you at least one Flyway implementation, if time permits. Otherwise, we'll see in the future classes where we can adjust Flyway. At least I want to show you Flyway because Flyway is getting popular day by day in the market. Okay. So today, what we are going to today. So let's take AWS. I think we have created Postgre database everywhere, right? Hardware we have, I think hardware we already know how to do it, right? Just install the operating system and install the Postgre, same like VM. I think VM part we have already did. Docker we did, Docker Compose and Swarm. I think Swarm cluster we are not going to build. It is old technology. We'll do it in Kubernetes. But at least on Docker and Docker Compose, we have already installed Postgre, right? Uh, another important thing, what tool we use to orchestrate or manage the Docker lifecycle end to end? What are the tools that we have implemented?
Docker desktop was
Docker
one,
desktop on Windows.
Docker desktop and another enterprise class, two enterprise class related applications that we should at least explore. We have installed Portainer, you remember last time?
Yes, Portainer.
We just installed it and within a second we have connected to all the Dockers and we just did it. Another important thing, Rancher. Whenever you are free, just these softwares are very simple. They are self-explanatory. If you just go to their website, read the documentation, they made it very easy to install and all. You can just pull the Docker image and you can install and use the Rancher, Portainer, anything. I think Portainer we already did. If anyone have any doubt, they can go and see the recording in the past recording. Okay. Today, let me show you how to install Postgre database on Amazon. Okay. And also, let's not do it manually like traditionally all the people are doing. Let's do it using the AWScli command. Okay. And we will do it completely by scripts. And I will show you further how you can automate all those things. Okay. Because we are already talking about the platforms. We have covered all these things. Now let's cover the cloud part. I'm just doing on AWS. AWS Azure CLI is quite similar like that. But let me show you the AWS first, and then we can do the next. We can go to the next topic. So what we are going to do, some common concept that we have to understand first. AWS. As I have mentioned in the last class also, what are the possible ways to manage the AWS? I think we have already discussed about this, right?
We have many services, EC2, RDS,
Yeah,
managed
no, I'm talking
services.
about
Management
the
console,
ways,
management
correct.
Okay, okay,
console,
okay, okay, okay.
Management console,
CLI.
and you have AWS CLI. So
Then
management console, what this is called as a programmatical interface. Programmatical interface where we are using AWS CLI, we are using Terraform, we are using Open Tofu, right, to control the AWS environment, right? What are the third way which developers use?
SDK, API.
Very good. SDK and API. The people who are new to all these concepts, so SDK is nothing but every like every software can give you interfaces on multiple interfaces. In other words, in let me make it very easy. Being a human, we have 5 ways to we in Hindi we call it like what we call it like or let me give you an example like that. Let's suppose you have an application like WhatsApp application, right? So WhatsApp application can be used using how many ways? Using phone as an app, using web as a web application, and there is another way using APIs. Okay. So these are nothing but these are the ways to interact with WhatsApp application. It is up to you which particular form you want to use. Okay, you can directly install it in your mobile phone, then it will become a third part Android application. If you are using through web, it is going through using the web interface. Let's suppose you have written a program where you are just calling the APIs, so it is nothing but API. So APIs and SDKs are nothing but a kind of interface to interact with any service or any operating system, any application software, any tools, any utilities. Okay, but this is not in our scope. API and SDK is not in our scope because this is done by the development on engineering team. Okay, being a DBA, we are mainly going to concentrate on AWS CLI, OpenTofu, and Azure CLI. Okay, we are going to talk about the Azure CLI. Okay, so let's discuss our practical first, what we are going to do today. So we are going to take one VM or one machine. Here we are going to install AWS CLI. This AWS CLI is over the internet, is going to connect to my AWS account. Under the AWS account, whenever I will run my AWS CLI script, my database will be up and running. And we are going to do it practically. We are not going to do it, theoretically. So my AWS CLI commands are going to be executed on my AWS account, and it will create the database. And it is going to create the database same like the way we are doing it in the Vagrant. You remember, right? How many of you remember the Vagrant automation? What we did in the Vagrant automation was Postgre installation. We just did the Vagrant up, right? And everything
Yes.
was up and running, right? So same thing we are going to do. So here, first thing is AWS CLI. We have to install the AWS CLI first. Then it will connect to my AWS account using the security key and the account details. And then there will be a user. AWS under the AWS account, I'm going to create a super user, or I'm going to use my user, which is going to interact with RDS services. And then these RDS services are going to create the database. Is this clear at least what we are going to do theoretically today?
Okay,
Everyone?
okay.
Can you repeat this last part?
Yes, again I will repeat it. So under the AWS, we have two kind of database service, right? One is managed service where AWS is providing you all the managed database services and everything, right? And also, uh, uh, um, one second. So what we are doing, we have two kind of services. One is RDS, which is managed service, and another one is VM, right? Where we are creating our own VM and we are installing the database related thing, right? Just a minute. Huh? Sorry. So the last part is my AWS CLI is going to connect to my AWS account programmatically using programs. It will go to the RDS service. It will give all the input to the RDS service to create a database. And once the RDS service have all the related inputs, it is going to create my database. Is this clear? At least high level?
So basically, with the help of CLI,
Mhm.
going to create self-managed database as well as RDS.
RDS, you can using AWS CLI. See, it is same like Linux operating system. You
Mhm.
have graphical user interface, right, in the Linux. So you just use keyboard and mouse, and you are just managing the entire Linux, right? In the same way, you have another way, right, which we call it terminal or command line, right, where you remotely log into the Linux operating system and you are doing all the stuff, right? So it's like that. So entire AWS account can be handled by automation scripts like AWS CLI, Terraform, OpenTofu, or CloudFormation. Okay, so that's why in my session I'm not doing a traditional installation. I'm going to show you these kind of advanced way where you will understand all these concepts thoroughly, because in the future sessions we are going to do more automation, more understanding on all these kind of things. Okay, is this clear, everyone? Any question? let Let me ask a question. I have the this AWS CLI, everything is set up. I want to further automate it. I want to create a scheduled pipeline or something where every day 4:30 p.m. this AWS database should be get created with certain database plus certain tables. How we can automate this? Just think like a solution architect and tell me how we can do this.
There are multiple ways.
Okay.
One is the
Mhm,
self-scripting using which you can, the way you will
mhm,
install the RDS and DB,
mhm,
the
mhm,
same way we'll write one script and we will
mhm,
schedule using cron tab.
mhm,
Second will be Jenkins, using which we can
mhm,
create a jobs, and when the
mhm.
job will run, we will get this infrastructure and database ready.
Very good. Mhm,
Third would be OpenTofu or Terraform, the way
mhm,
you did in Vagrant, the same way.
mhm, mhm,
Also, we can use a Python boto for scripting the same way that we are using search scripting. So
mhm,
search scripting, Python boto will go in the
mhm.
same way.
Very good.
Uh, yeah.
Very good. So these are the possible way. Using that, we can automate the entire pipeline. Okay, implementation pipeline. Got it? So we are going to just see the little complex one, which is Jenkins job. Shell scripting, it is very easy. I can just put my commands in the shell script, but I want to teach you the Jenkins part because Jenkins is more demanding.
Yes.
Any question so far before we go ahead? Anyone have any doubt related to this practical or related to the to this particular practice or session? All good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me sign into my account just a minute. Huh? I will take it to my different screen. Just a minute. Huh? I'm just logging into my account. For creating AWS account, nowadays you have to provide your PAN card and everything. So just do like that. Previously, it was not mandatory, but now it is mandatory. So if you provide your PAN card and everything, and you create your AWS account, uh, make sure you are not abusing it, or you are not, in case if you are using any services or something, make sure you use it wisely. Otherwise, what will happen? If your one account is closed, if you try to create another account using same PAN card and all, it will not allow you. They are very strict nowadays. So just an extra piece of information. Okay. So everyone understand this particular console first of all, because that is very important. How many of you have seen this first time, AWS console? Because my main concept is to my main idea is to give you at least idea what is this. Okay, David, what else? Everyone has seen this, Dhirender? Okay, so rest of everyone has already seen this kind of console where we go and create the cloud related infrastructure and all. Okay,
Yes.
so this is the AWS console, and AWS console is the main interface from where I can go and I can create any infrastructure on the cloud. Okay. So this is the AWS console. The normal way of creating database is simple: type RDS, go to the managed service. RDS is just a managed service here, and create your database. Okay. Here I can go and I can create multiple databases. Okay. A- question? Any question? I think I can see. I'm seeing that someone has raised the hand. This is for the old question, or you have any doubt now? Okay.
This was for old version only.
I think yes. Okay. So when you go to the console, you see you can create the database for these many databases. Okay. So in AWS, majority of the databases are available. You can go and create these databases on top of AWS console or on your AWS account, and they provide you multiple options. Okay. So in case if you want to create the Postgre database, you simply go, you give your database name, the username, password. Password can be managed by you, or they have their AWS secret manager also. So AWS secret manager is nothing but a utility or a system where they are keeping the password for you. And whenever you want to retrieve the password, you have to go and talk to your AWS secret manager. Okay. So AWS secret manager is again a service under the AWS. So if you go to AWS Secret Manager, what they call it, Secret Manager. Okay, so just go and type this. Can you see this? So there is a service which basically holds your password. Okay. AWS Secret Manager is another concept where let's suppose I don't want to share a password with you, but I really want to, I don't have any option and I want to give the password to you without you knowing what is my password. Okay, so all those kind of scenarios, what I do, I create my password in the secret manager and I just give you the link of that password and you can use it wherever you want to use it. Okay, there are multiple ways of using it. So this is just a vault or a wallet, you can say. People who are coming from the Oracle side, they can think like it's a wallet, and where you can store your password. Second thing, set up EC2 connect option. Okay, so let's suppose you have any application which is already running on EC2 or VM and you want to create a dedicated connection. Okay, so you can directly go and when the moment you say connect to the EC2 application, you have to define your EC2 instance here or the instance ID and it will connect to that particular EC2 instance. Okay, like that. It also gives you multiple other options, like it gives you the option to encrypt your database. It gives option in which particular network you can keep your database, all those things. It gives you the monitoring option, the performance insight, all those things. So the important one, the people who are working for financial sector or the people who are coming from the banking sector, for them encryption is very important. So if your database is encrypted, it means no one else can steal your data or they can't access your data. If in case they get the access of your database also, they will not able to access the table or the important uh, data or row from your tables and all those. VPC is nothing but virtual private cloud. Okay, so virtual private cloud. What is there in the virtual private cloud? What is so important? Um, why we have created virtual private cloud in AWS? Okay, so basically AWS is a part of a very big infrastructure, right? AWS is a part of very big infrastructure where infrastructure is created on a big horizon or in a data center, in other words, and you are just working in one small part of their infrastructure. Let's suppose if this is a network, you are just working on a small part of this network. So what we do using VPC, we are just segregating this big network into the small pieces where you are only working. Your AWS console is created. So in other words, you can say we have a very big land, and on that particular land, we got a small place to build our own house, or you can say this particular area belongs to you. Okay, so in the same concept, we have a big computer network. Under that, I have my small VPC, okay, or one small network. Also, AWS provides you one default VPC. Means to say, when you open your account with AWS, it gives you a default network. Also, due to your requirement or something, if you want to create multiple VPCs, it gives you option to create custom VPC also. Okay, so you can create n number of VPC. In other words, basically in interviews, people are asking, what is the main purpose of VPC? Why do we create custom VPCs? Anyone knows about? Anyone want to answer this? Why do we create our separate network
Yes,
when we already have a public network
Morning
available?
में सुबह उठी थी मैंने
just to isolate and for security purpose also,
Correct. So
we
basically,
create a multiple VPC.
perfect, very good. So let's suppose I have a banking application, I don't want to give access to my databases to anyone else. So what I will do, I will create a separate VPC, virtual private network for this particular database, and I will create the another VPC where I will put my application server. So I will call it public VPC and I will call this private VPC. Okay. So using the VPC, I'm isolating the network where I can say application can be accessed by anyone from anywhere over the cloud, but database can't be accessed to anyone directly. Only application can access my database. For these kind of purposes, we are creating separate VPCs. Okay, is that clear? At least conceptually or high level VPC? At least high level, is it clear? So you can create your own VPCs in AWS multiple times, and every VPC can be given a name, logical name also. So you can give it. Option group. Okay. So basically option groups are nothing but configurational group where you are defining the database related properties. So let's suppose in a big company, we are not running only one database or two databases. We are running multiple databases, right? So let's suppose I'm running development database, production database, staging database, QA database. Okay. So like that, you can create multiple option groups. Multi-AZ, very important concept for database administration. Recently, you have seen a lot of outages happen, right, in AWS, right? The Chat GPT was down, Azure was, your Uber was down, Ola was down, Netflix was having impacted. Netflix also got some of the impact and all those things happened, right, recently? You remember? Everyone remembers that? Or any idea about that?
Yes.
AWS
Diwali.
outage in Diwali, right? AWS biggest outage. Recently, AWS was out of services for one of the longest outages which happened recently. Okay, so this concept is related to that. How it is related to that? When you are creating your infrastructure, in other words, you and your friend have one single machine or laptop, okay, and you are doing your college project on that laptop. In case if your laptop get crashed, what happens? You don't have any option, right? Because your code, your application, everything is there in that single laptop. So what we do normally in the real-time scenario, we get two laptops, right? Laptop 1 and laptop 2, right? And what we do, we try to install or share the same code in these two laptops, right? Using some pen drive or external hard disk, right? Something like that. So that we have copied the same application, same code or same project in both these two laptops. So if one laptop goes down, automatically at least you can use your second laptop, right? For your college project or for your work, right? Like that. In the same way, in AWS, or in any other cloud service providers, they provide you two set of infrastructure basically. So this two set of infrastructure is nothing but your data center, right? So let's suppose one uh, set of infrastructure is running from Hyderabad or Mumbai. Another set of infrastructure is running from Singapore. Okay. So let's suppose if my database is configured here and I have choose the option of multi-AZ. So what I will do, I will create another replica set on Singapore and it is continuously getting replicated to my secondary database. In case if anything goes down, happens to Mumbai or Hyderabad, automatically my application will start using this new primary database. Okay. So like that, what we do, we provide multi-AZ option to our databases. Okay. If you have not choose the multi-AZ option, then what will happen? If your database like recently happened, right? When AWS was down, majority of applications went down. So based on your need or based on your application requirement, you can use multi-AZ. Okay. So if you go to the AWS console and right hand side on the top, currently my infrastructure will get provisioned where, in which location? What is my current location? Can you see, someone see here?
Hyderabad.
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 Hyderabad. Let's suppose I want to create my database to some other location. What kind of locations I have? In AWS console, I have in Virginia. In United States, I have 4-5 reasons. In Asia Pacific, I have multiple reasons. In Canada, I have Central Canada. In Europe also, I have these many locations available where I can go and create my infrastructure. Okay. Is that clear? At least these. If you want to if you want to configure all these infrastructure, there is another important concept that we have to, as a architects or as a database engineer, we should understand the another concept that I'm going to tell you very soon, very shortly after this. Whenever you are choosing a infrastructure, please concentrate on these 4-5 factors. First thing, whenever you are choosing your infrastructure location, the first thing is that you should be in your mind is nothing but speed. In technical terms, we call it latency. Okay. Cost. And another thing is the infrastructure availability. Okay. These are the 3 things that you should always consider, because this session is basically advanced to 0 to hero kind of course, right? That we are doing currently, the session. So that's what I'm trying to tell you, trying to explain you. We have understood the basic concept, but let's understand some important concept that is very important when you are architecting or you're creating a application or application infrastructure for a company. Okay. So let's suppose you have created your database on Hyderabad and your application is in US. Is this a correct model?
No,
No, it is not a
latency
correct
run.
model. Yes. So if we see the map, the world's map, if we see, we have created our database somewhere here, and my application is like US also have 2 part, West Coast or East Coast. So I don't know which coast we have created. Let's suppose I have created here somewhere in New York. So what my database has to do? My application has to cross the entire half of the world to connect to my database. Okay, and then in that case, I'm getting the lot of latency. Okay, so another thing, when there is a latency, there is a more network traffic also, right? So I'm going to pay extra money for unnecessary network throughput, which is nothing but from US to India, India to US, lot of transaction will happen. Okay. Another important point, when you are choosing any service, any cloud provider, availability of the services are a biggest important thing that you have to do it day one itself. Okay. Anyone understand availability of the services? What I'm trying to refer here? Any idea?
Availability.
So availability of the services are nothing but, let's suppose it happens that in Hyderabad, I have certain services available, but in the same way, I might not get the same kind of hardware on Ireland or London, okay, or on Tokyo or Singapore. Let's suppose in Tokyo, I'm getting a very big server, let's suppose 256 GB or 512 GB RAM server, but unfortunately that server is not available in Hyderabad. Okay, so being an architect, make sure you just check all the services, service configuration, and ahead of the time, your plan should be ready that these particular services are available everywhere. Okay, we'll talk about more all the resources and all. The moment we'll talk more, you will understand what I'm trying to tell you here. Let's suppose you are building a database server with the RAM of 512 GB RAM. Unfortunately, that service is available in Hyderabad, but it is not available on, let's suppose, on South America here. So availability of the service is another very important concept when you are working as a cloud DBA or cloud infrastructure DBA or cloud DevOps engineer. Try to understand the availability of the service also. Okay, and cost. Ahead of the time, how we can calculate the cost? What are the options we have? We have AWS calculator. So let's suppose your management is asking like how much money we have to spend to create the database. You can simply come to the AWS calculator and you can fill all the details. Same way we have Azure calculator. So using Azure calculator also you can calculate your cloud infrastructure ahead of the time. Let's suppose I want to create Postgre database. Okay. So what kind of estimate I have to put? How much money I have to spend here? If I want to run one server, two server on which location? So this is the important concept that you have to do ahead of the time. GCP calculator. All the major service provider have their calculator available in the market. You can simply do the calculating part. So Oracle also give you OCI calculator, estimate calculator. Otherwise, what will happen? You will create the service and later on you will get a very big bill. Okay. And when you will get the bill, unnecessarily you have to migrate your service from higher pricing zone to lower pricing zone. Okay. Let's suppose US is very higher pricing zone. So you have to unnecessarily migrate it to your lower pricing zone or something like that. Is this clear? I'm talking like a architect also, and I want to modernize your knowledge. So that's why I'm giving you all these things. Is this clear? Related to cloud, at least speed, cost, infrastructure availability. Everyone?
Yes.
To everyone, it is clear. For some of them, it will be a repeated knowledge. I know who are already professional, who are working on all these things from a long time. But for the people who are, first time doing all these things, just I'm repeating for them. Okay. So availability zone. We have already talked about the availability zone. Subnet group. Okay. So what happens when you are taking a big network? Let's suppose you have a big VPC and you want to further segregate your VPC into small parts. Okay. Let's suppose this is a company. In the company, I got this VPC, virtual private connect for my company. Further, I want to drill down. Let's suppose I want to drill down this department. This department name is finance. This is customer care. This is sales, and this is my HR department. So I don't want HR people to access my financial information. I don't want sales to access my financial information. Same way customer care. So what I will do under my VPC, I will going to create a new subnet for my finance department. Same way, I'm going to create it for like this. Something like this. Let's take 2, make it 3, like that. So what I will do, I will create a different subnet for under the VPC, and I'm going to give the name to that particular subnet, and I can use these subnets to segregate my VPC into further pieces. Okay. So subnets are nothing but a IP range which I'm going to assign to my VPC, and using that I'm segregating my network into further small pieces. Make sense? For high level at least? Everyone? Everyone, hello? Is this clear?
Yeah, it is.
At least high level it is clear, right? That we have segregated our network into further small pieces. Automatic backup. Let's suppose your database is created and you want that backup to be run automatically every few hours, every day, in beginning of the day, like let's suppose 1 a.m. or 12:30 a.m. you want your backup to be done. So there are two kind of backups available. One is automatic backup and another is custom backup or human defined backup. So when you have enabled the automatic backup, it means AWS will take the backup based on their uh, schedule. If you really want to do the backup according to you, you can also create the custom backups. Okay. VPC security group. So basically, every security group has its own firewall. Okay. Let's suppose this every security group, every VPC have its own firewall. So basically, firewall is nothing but a kind of concept where I'm blocking the ports. So let's suppose in finance subnet, I have a database which is running on 5432 port, and someone from the internet try to access to this finance database. What we have to do under the security group, we have to go and open the port called 5432. Then only this guy, a guy, will able to my finance database. Okay, so security groups are nothing but they work like a firewall under your cloud infrastructure. Okay, so the moment you allow 5432, this guy will able to connect to your finance database. Okay, so we are not changing any security group, we are just taking the default one. If you want, if you want to create the security group for your specific need, you can go and you can create the as many as security groups you want, you can create it. Public accessibility, very important concept. Do I have to access my database over the internet, or I want to just access it under the AWS account? So if you say yes, okay, if you say yes, it will make your database accessible to the to what, to all the people who have access, who have the link of the database. They can publicly access over the internet to this particular database. So from the security point of view, is this a right practice to enable the public IP on your database?
No,
No.
Why? Why?
because if it is publicly accessible, anyone can get the access of the database, which keeps the PI data and all that stuff.
Very good. So if it is publicly accessible, anyone can go and access the database. Okay. Let me ask this question, but answer you can give me later also. So what is the alternative in AWS or in any cloud provider that I don't want to give public access to my database, but I want to connect to the database? Try to find the answer. It's an interview question. So sometimes people ask these kind of questions. Okay. So try to find the answer how you are going to connect to your database remotely, but you don't want to give the public IP. Okay. And database port. So database port, we can give either we can use the standard port or we can give the we can give our own port based on our requirement. Never ever give the reserve port to the database. Mean to say, we have two class of categories, two categories available in the IT world, that we have dedicated ports and we have, basically in other words you can say, the defined port and undefined ports. Basically 5432 globally known to the Postgre database port. So globally, if anyone says that 5432, it is, everyone knows that this is dedicated to Postgre database. What about 3306? Which database is using 3306 as a default port?
MySQL.
1515, very good. MySQL. 1521.
Oracle.
Okay. SQL Server.
1433.
1433. MongoDB.
27017.
27017. 27017. Okay. So like that, we have defined port and undefined port. So try to give only those ports which is defined in your network or which is available on the network. If you give something else and which is blocked or it is undefined port, then your database will not run on the cloud. Database identifier. Let's suppose this database is getting configured for production. I will put the name as a prod dev QA like that. So database engine. What is database engine? So database engine is nothing but the version of your database engine. Let's suppose you are configuring Postgres 17, 18, 19 like that. So you can give the version name. Database parameter group. Okay. So database parameter group is nothing but, let's suppose you have multiple databases running on your AWS account. For example, you have 15, 16, 17, and you have some old release like Postgres 10. So what happens? To configure these databases, we are creating a parameter file, right? What is the parameter file for Postgre? Which file? We have already talked about that. What is the Postgre config file name?
Postgres.config.
Postgre.config. So to manage the different Postgre.config in the cloud, we have categorized that configuration into some logical name. Let's suppose if I'm using my prod database, by default, my port is going to be 5433. If I'm using my development, I will make sure my Postgre is going to use 5431, something like that. So the custom configurations we are keeping into different custom groups. Okay. And those groups are nothing but your database parameter group. So if you change the, let's suppose if you're changing a parameter for one group and whatever databases are using that group, let's suppose I have given the prod group and under the prod group, I have 15 instances running. If I change this port 5432 to 5433 to 5432, all these databases, whatever is running under this parameter group will get impacted. Getting my point? So whenever you will restart your database, automatically this port will come into the effect. All these 15 databases, if restarted, all the 15 databases will take this parameter group by default. Okay. So being a database administrator, for a database administrator, DB parameter group is one of the important configuration. Without any proper understanding, do not go and change it. If you have a doubt, create your own separate parameter group and use it. Okay. So sometimes I have seen that majority of the accident happens due to parameter group. Is this clear? At least I am knowingly telling you which is important, which is not important. So parameter group is very important for database administrator. The people who are planning to become the cloud database administrator, this is one of the core concept for any database, for MySQL, for Mongo, for Postgre, whatever you are running on top of AWS. Is this clear? Parameter group? Everyone? This is important actually. Monitoring type. What is the monitoring type? Either in AWS, you have two kind of monitoring type. You have standard monitoring type and you have performance insight. So performance insight is the monitoring which provides you some extra information. So basically performance insight also provides you the information related to your hardware and other thing. Okay. So the moment you enable the performance insight, you will get lot of other information like your IO and all those things. But one very important thing is to understand is performance insight is chargeable in some cases. Okay, so make sure you, whenever you are enabling the performance insight, you make sure that your what kind of charges you are going to get. Okay, it's not a free services. Okay, so performance insight, monitoring type, and monitoring is enabled or not. So if you enable the monitoring, it will get monitored. If you don't enable, it will not get monitored. Maintenance, another problematic area where I have seen outages happen. So maintenance is nothing but auto version upgrade enabled. Mean to say, if you enable this particular option and any minor version comes into the market, let's suppose you are running Postgres 17.0.0. This is your active version. Active version. Tomorrow in the market, if I got 1.2 in the market directly, so you have already enabled this option in your AWS account, they will upgrade it to the new release. Okay, so there are some options and some fine prints available in the documentation that when they will upgrade, if you enable it, whenever a new maintenance cycle comes, by default they will upgrade your database from small minor version to higher minor version, or the lower minor version to higher minor version. So why outage will happen? What is the cause of outage? It is just a minor version, right? So what is the difference? Why outage can happen?
Sometimes there is a restart of the database server by this maintenance.
Mhm.
And sometimes like they internally go to the OS level or something by
Mhm.
this. So that's
Kernel issue.
Okay. Another important thing,
Because
why?
of
Because of?
functionality.
Very good.
Some of
So which?
the,
Mhm.
yeah.
You can explain
Yeah,
it,
like
like what?
whenever let's suppose my application has some functionality
Mhm.
which is only supported in 17.1.0, whereas
Mhm.
when the new version introduced and the database is automatically updated to new version, maybe
Mhm.
there is a possibility that my application is not compatible with that version, and
Very
we
good.
may face some challenges. Yeah.
Hmm. So let's suppose from the application point of view, in 17.1.1, when I was writing select sysdate from dual, or select star from, or I am just querying the data. Okay, date. So in 17 by default, I get dd yy seconds and micromilliseconds. Okay, micromillisecond. But in minor release, what they did, and they have added nanosecond also. So what will happen, whatever queries are using this as an output, or whatever queries are using for their further operation, might get the extra value, and my program will not able to handle this extra value, and I'm going to get lot of error or warnings, okay, on my application. Just an example, it doesn't happen like that, but just to make this point clear, if I have any database related dependency which is going to change on the new release, I might see a problem or a outage. So be very sure that this option is unchecked. We don't want to do any kind of upgrade or anything without our further testing. At least we should do a POC, proof of concept, and then only any database version has to be changed, because there are n number of things which can impact your applications. Delete protection. Another important thing. What is delete protection? So when you enable the delete protection, if anyone, let's suppose one new guy joined to our company, and we have just said that boss, just go and delete one database from the production. Okay, this database is not required anymore. So what happened? This guy went and he, rather than selecting a database, he deleted B database. Okay, so if delete protection is enabled, what AWS will do, it will make sure that database is not getting deleted easily. And also, in case if it is deleted, we can retrieve it back. So all the options are enabled, and in case of any deletion, you can easily restore these databases. Okay. So once can you hear me now, everyone?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I got You lost my voice, right? In between, or
Yeah, correct.
Yes.
so till which point you were able to hear me? Delete protection, I have explained, right?
Yes. Yes.
I think just for few seconds you lost, or for long time.
Few seconds.
Only for few seconds.
Yes.
Okay, okay. So the moment all these options are selected, you can create the database. Another important factor that we should remember when we are creating a database on AWS, Azure, GCP, on OCI is database instance. Okay, so yeah, Rohit, tell me, please. Rohit, you raised
In
your
the
hand.
in the maintenance window, you
Mhm.
said auto version upgrade is happening. So apart
Mhm.
from auto version upgrade, what are the maintenance tasks when what is the maintenance apart from the
Mhm.
auto version upgrade? So there will be another
So, mhm. So basically, from the AWS side or from our side?
from AWS side because it's a managed service by
Mhm.
from the AWS side. No?
So what happens? 99.9% AWS is not interrupting our services, even though they are doing maintenance. Okay, they have very good hypervisors. Hypervisors are nothing but uh, setup of virtual machines or infrastructure. So let's suppose they have multiple hypervisors running on your hardware, and let's suppose this is your database. Okay, DB. So they make sure all these maintenance happens without interrupting your database. Okay. In case if they need, or in case they are not able to do any maintenance without shutting down the database, then they pop up the message. Okay. This is the option one, popping up the message to your AWS console that this particular database is running on some old hypervisor, and due to our scheduled maintenance, we want to move this database to A hypervisor to B hypervisor, something like that. Okay, from A virtual machine to B virtual machine, something like that. You will get this pop-up. Otherwise, you get, if you have, if they have your official email ID, you get official emails also frequently that this is going to happen and all. But 99.9% they will take your consent until unless something is very important. They will take your consent to shut down their database. Also, sometimes they get security patches for the operating system. So they might tell you that we are going to provide, we have to apply a SSL package update because the old SSL is very weak. We want to upgrade it. So they will send you email or something they will do. Sometimes they apply OS patches also. Okay, let's suppose you got new semaphore or ECI or something new packages which they want to push to your infrastructure. So in that time also they do a lot of maintenance and all. Sometimes VPC workflow fix. Sometimes their disaster is not working, or like that. There are n number of maintenance that happens, but they make sure that your infrastructure is not getting impacted. So like that. Is that clear? At least.
Yeah, clear. Yeah, clear.
Can we take a break? I need to drink some water. Can we take a 15-minute break?
Yeah.
So I'll be back in 15 minutes. Is that fine? I'm so sorry for keep on, talking. And if you think that you need break, so you can just ping on the, chat. We can have a break, frequent breaks, at least 2 or 3 breaks if everyone is agreeing or something. Okay. So let's be back after 15 minutes. Okay.
12:35.
It's 12:35. I'm stopping the recording. So someone please remind me. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.